I got into real estate when I was very young. My dad told me that, no, you're not going to university, you're gonna get your real estate license. And I'm pretty sure I started studying for real estate courses when I was in grade 11. He needed help and I decided to jump in and help him. And starting off real estate that young, it sucked. I hated it. It was dog eat dog. I was started out selling farms and I had to learn farm talk. I had to get farm boots. I had to test the dirt. I mean, it was like, it was freezing my ass off in the middle of winter and running around. So any new realtors out there, just be like, you're lucky, because it would be 12 o'clock at night and I'd have to have a certain signature by this irrevocability date, and I'd be like driving in a snowstorm like a mad woman, like just trying to get one missing initial, and it was just hell. To all the new agents, just know you missed that era, and just appreciate the ones that went through it. How do I price homes? You know, that's a really good question, and the fact that it's not easy to price homes, especially when we're in a changing market that we're in right now, because sometimes there's no comparables to where that price is at, and you might have to find yourself going back to 365 days last year. I mean, you have to pull some kind of comparable from somewhere, and it's not for you just to get the price right on the market, it's also for other agents to see where you got your pricing from. One thing that I really like to do is create a separate document for agents that are from out of town to show them where I came up to my pricing, because they don't have that good of access to our information, but also for other agents to save them some of their work is seeing, hey, I priced it at this point because of this and this and this. Now, if you were to ask me, how do I price a property? Well, it's a loaded question because every property in different areas are different. So how I price farms is completely different than how I'm gonna price country estates, and then how I'm gonna price residentials or condos. But if we were to start from the easiest to the hardest, easiest would be condos, because they're all typical, same square footage, same layout, everything along those lines. So pricing it pretty much is going to go from the most recent sales and the upgrades. Then you're gonna go into townhouses, and then I would say the next easiest one is kind of those subdivisions where the houses are all pretty much the same square footage on the same platform and same lot, and then stretching out to more country properties, where I can tell you right now, probably the hardest thing to price are country estates, because when you're dealing with country properties, workable is very easy to calculate, but when you're taking into ponds, rivers, bush forest wood, trails, hardwood bush, trails, ponds, views, lakeside views, riverside, and taking into the square footage of these massive country estates, because no property is the same, and you really need to break down those numbers so you can sell it and convince other agents and other buyers why that value that you put on it is the right value for it at the time. So how do you find a good real estate agent that you want to work with? I think that you need to, it's not how, oh, my dad's coming in.
Hey.
I'm almost done. We're thinking of one last question to ask you. And the question was, how do you pick a good real estate agent? There's two types of agents. We usually do both the same things, but there's some that specialize in others. There's a really good buying agents, there's really good selling agents, and there's agents that do both. Me, I'm typically, I would say, probably a better selling agent. It's kind of my specialty is listings, and there's a big difference between agents that list a lot of homes and ones that don't. I mean, there's so much thought process that goes into it, especially nowadays with media being so important. But generally, picking a good agent is somebody that probably is going to answer the phone call in the first ring or get back to you within a half an hour. We were living in a really fast-paced market in the last 2 years. If you didn't have a really quick agent that was on their toes, you could have missed out on your dream property. Now you want a very educated agent, one that has been through the turmoil of the market. For me, I started out, it was very hard to sell a house when I started out because there was no buyer. So marketing was a big thing for me from the get-go, starting in real estate. But working with a buying agent beforehand, there's a lot of conditions. There's a lot of things you want to look for right now. You could do a very savvy purchase, protected all the way through, versus limiting yourself when you have all the right in the world to put those certain conditions in, to making sure that in closing date, everything is taken care of, the house has been inspected. There's so many conditions that not a lot of agents have even seen before that we have used in the past. You got to get really savvy with your purchases right now. I mean, you could be so lucrative in this market. For instance, seller takebacks. Maybe you can't get the funding for this property, and maybe this seller is willing to work with you to get the financing in place. There's just so many different elements, and experience goes a long way right now in this market. But if you find yourself working with a newer agent, that's fine. Just see who her mentors are, who she works with, if she's part of a team or he's part of a team. They have good people to reach to, and they're usually very eager beavers, so which is great. Experience, dedication, commitment, and they're out there. And remember, guys, buying a property, the buyer agent is pretty much free, so the listing agent pays them. So why not use a great buying agent? We're going in here that is going to help you find and secure your dream home.